call the Board of Directors meeting for January 14th, 2026 to order. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Ready, begin. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That might be the best Pledge of Allegiance we've ever had.
Certainly the biggest number of pledgers that we've had in a very long time. So let's do a quick roll call, please, Denise.
Director Walper,
Here.
Director Berman,
Here.
Director Lohmeyer, Director Martinez, Director Wheeler,
Here.
Vice Chair Johnston,
Here.
and Chair Rydell.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, we're going to kick it off here with the concert choir is here to perform 2 songs, I believe. So welcome, everyone. Sorry we missed you in December, but we get a bigger group in January. So it's kind of a win for us as well. So we'll turn it over to Mr. Frunk.
Well, first off, I understand that it's appreciate your board of directors.
Oh, yes.
And we definitely appreciate you guys and what you do. We feel very supported by the board here. And thank you for all of your service. We recently auditioned back in, I think August was last year's choir, to participate in the OMEA Oregon Music Educators Association. And we were selected out of all the schools that auditioned. There were only 4 high schools that were accepted. And we were one of those, and we are the only 4A school. All the others are 5A and 6A. So congratulations to these guys. We're going to do 2 songs. Our theme is songs from around the world. And so our first song is from Latvia. And it's a song about being in a scary forest and going on a walk and feeling lost and very anxious. And I think you'll kind of get that, and it features some interesting vocal techniques, which we hope you like.
Oh
taking all of his family's coffee beans to market to sell, and then he loses them. So it's a big dilemma for this kid, and I don't know what happens to him in the end, it doesn't say. But this is called Peze Cafe.
Sama
Just wish you'd have picked fun music.
I know. Next time we'll
Hey,
see more fun.
good luck on Friday. Have fun. All right, great job. Congratulations.
You guys sound awesome.
Good job. Good job.
You have to go last.
Nice job on the tambourines.
Thank you guys.
Great
Thank
job,
you.
Sander. Great job. That was awesome. Great job. Good job, Sean. Good job, Henry.
Wow, that was impressive.
Yeah. All right. Well, not a better way to kick off a meeting, that's for sure. Now the room's empty again, so. But we appreciate those that are here. Thank you for being here tonight. So, all right, so Denise, was the agenda properly notified?
Yes, it was.
Perfect, thank you. And could I get a move to approve or amend the agenda, please?
Chair Rydell, I move to approve the agenda as written.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand or say aye if you're online.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, next up is Board of Directors reports, and we'll start with Director Walper.
I have nothing.
All right. Director Berman.
I don't know a lot about choir scene, but I don't think they picked easy songs.
No.
That looked pretty complicated. That was impressive. And sometimes when it's all meetings, it's nice to see that.
Yeah.
Makes it worth all the
Yeah.
volunteer time. So that's all I've got.
All right. Director Wheeler.
After our last meeting, the FFA, SK FFA had a wonderful community event, auction, fundraiser for the year. They did it up at a local farm up off of Metzer Park Road. I think it was 200-ish people. Wow. And it was pretty well full. I think they raised, the Alumni Association raised somewhere in the neighborhood of $40,000 on the night, so. They're gonna, what's that? 45. So it was a big deal for that group. They also established it's been in the works for a little bit, but a Katie Kmeyer Memorial Scholarship for, obviously Katie Kmeyer was a student here, and so now that'll go to ag students and FFA students, graduating, on to the next, era of their life, so. I don't know all the details on it, but just the fact that they established it, and they got a pretty good plug of money for seeding it, so, it should go on for quite a while, hopefully indefinitely. So, it was a good night, good to see all the community people and, all the support, so, that's it for now.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Vice Chair Johnston.
Yeah, I know I'm virtual, but I did have a couple updates I thought the board would like to hear. First, I just wanted to give some thanks to John and Lori and Sarah and Christy for the updates they're providing in the board notes. They're very helpful to see all the special things that are going on in the district and their departments. I also wanted to thank, just a shout out to the administrators and the teachers. I know exactly where all my kids are in their academics for this progress. A lot of progress reports going out, and I think that's very helpful. And then wanted to update the group on middle school wrestling, since I'm helping support that. We have about 30 kids out. A lot of good wrestling going on. Our first meet is next Wednesday, and I think we go to Hood River for that. And for the group that doesn't know, we're implementing the same kind of academic standards that they hold at the high school, which we haven't done in the past. And so we're making sure that we're keeping up to date with students making progress in 80% of their standards, or have a path to successfully get to that point. So we're proud. Ryan Dunn, who's the head coach, Mike Addison, and I are proud that we're helping the academics out, as well as we're helping kids learn how to wrestle on a mat. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you, Vice Chair Johnston. I'm not missing anybody else, am I? Is it my turn?
Nope.
Okay. That's good. I got a list. High school basketball is underway, and I will say that it's probably the best attendance that I've seen in high school basketball in a long time. So if you get a chance to come down and watch a game, it feels like high school basketball game again, which is exciting. So, and really looking forward to getting the pep band there full time as we roll into the season. So, Winter music concerts happened last month, so very well attended, some phenomenal music as you got to hear, not those songs, but the talent that's represented there is huge. So Mr. Frank already mentioned that they were invited to sing in the OMEA annual convention. So what he didn't say is that that's the first time in, I think, program history that we've ever even been invited or made the cut to go. So that's a huge deal for the program. Along with that, part of that conference is the All-State Choir and All-State Band. And I wanted to say for the choir folks when they were here, but Rendell got them out real fast. So, but for the All-State Choir, so they'll be performing, I believe, on Sunday. Isaac Crandall, Logan Felix Hodges, Henry Rydell, Emma Stallcup, and Peyton Vollmer all made the All-State Choir. And for the All-State Band, Garrick Reese and Cristobal Mendoza Gonzalez. So well represented at the All-State level. And then I think last one, the musical Newsies is coming up next week. So phenomenal show. Very excited about that. So it runs Thursday through Saturday. There'll be a 7 p.m. a show every night, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and a 2 p.m. matinee on Saturday. So the sets are awesome. The construction part of the classes that Mr. Frank is teaching has taken on a lot of that. So it's fun to see that the students are really leading up the charge on a lot of that set construction stuff. So a lot of work's gone into it and very excited. So come support Performing Arts in Estacada. I think that's it for me. All right. So let's jump in. District reports, Communications Department, Maggie Kelly and Danny Randall, come on down.
Good evening.
Good evening.
And happy School Board Appreciation Month. In the Communications Department, some of our projects in progress right now include our reconfiguration committee. We just sent out invitations for people to start applying for this committee, and the applications are starting to pour in. So we'll give it another week or two to let those applications come in and recruit people so people have a full opportunity to participate. And what this committee is they will be helping us with and giving input on the logistics of parent pickup and drop off when our new reconfiguration model kicks in next year. So we anticipate that that committee will start in late January, early February. We'll be integrating in our transportation team and of course some of our wonderful principal and vice principals to help out with that, and we're looking forward to a good conversation. We also have our performing arts features that we're working on right now. As you saw, the wonderful choir, we got the opportunity to interview them about the OMEA conference just to highlight some of the honors that our students are receiving. And we're looking forward to rolling out that video production. We're helping them with some programs, and just supporting that department has been really fun. And then also Newsies, of course. I think we've done more promotion of this than any musical so far, so we're looking forward to tracking butts in seats, so to speak. And we've done some signage. We promoted it in the mailer that went out, and we're doing some video interviews with students that have been really great. And then kindergarten registration is open now. Shout out to Hank Bauer. This is the earliest we have ever had kindergarten registration open. And so we're excited to start pounding the pavement and getting people to be aware of kinder registration, have some open house opportunities, talk about Kinder Connection, and just welcome people into Rivermill, which will be the only kindergarten school next year. Some recently completed projects, our winter community mailer went out over the winter break, and every single time we send out a mailer, I get a couple calls each time from a community member that has never connected with our schools before. So it's always great to speak to those folks. And we tried a new mailing method. It's a magazine instead of folded, and I did get some feedback from people that they noticed it in the mail a little bit easier. So we're always tweaking things just to make sure more people are opening that and seeing the great news inside. We've gotten good feedback, and we also promoted Newsies there, just trying to get people in the doors, so that's been positive. Storm communication, also, as you know, we had some flooding, and we did a video with John Simpson in facilities, and he just shared the great efforts that maintenance is putting in to keep our schools open and functional during the stormy weather. I think we had over 2,500 views on that, and the Oregonian also picked it up. So cool that people are getting to see all the effort that goes into keeping our schools running, especially these aging facilities, and that was received really positively. And then also our fall sports highlight, we do a highlight recap video with Josh every sports season, but this year we had a student intern do it from start to finish, and taking a video from start to finish is hard work, and he did a great job, and it's gotten a lot of views, and Estacada does a wonderful job of offering so many extracurriculars. There's no way that Josh, Danny, and I could cover it all, so the student interns are able to help spread us across all of those and do it a little bit more justice, and that has been a great addition to the team. So we're proud to hit that milestone and look forward to bringing on more student interns in the future. And I will turn it over to Danny.
So for our January community engagement update, I will also mention the Performing Arts Department because it's the hot topic of the night. They are amazing, and we really appreciate our opportunities to go to those events, capture them, share them with the community, and really give them a quick glimpse of how wonderful they are and that they really should come and experience it in person. I'm fortunate enough to go to a lot of the events, whether they're small kids at the elementary level or the band and choir performing in the commons with their peers, and I'm still in awe every time I watch their performance. So I did get to see a little bit of the dress rehearsal for Newsies yesterday, and it looks wonderful. I encourage everybody to go check it out. And like Maggie mentioned, we really love to be there, share that with the community. It gets great feedback from them, and then supporting them however we can, whether it's programs or posters. We are currently working on a virtual school communication guide when we're fortunate enough to get a heads up on how or what our weather looks like in the future. I know our staff does a great job preparing students on what their expectations are, but I do think that there is sometimes a lapse in communication with the parents. So we want to make sure that there is a quick overview, or for anybody new to our district, they're able to kind of have a one-stop shop on who they contact, how enrollment or how attendance is counted, what the expectations are for their students, and then who to contact when questions arise, because we know that's going to happen, and especially for those parents who maybe have kids moving from an elementary level to a middle school level. That's a whole different story when you're juggling different classes, different teachers, and teenagers. So we're hoping to be helpful and really remove any roadblocks that are in the way for student success on those virtual school days that are likely coming. And then another update on our Safe Routes to School participation. That's still ongoing. We're in a point now where we're collecting data. There is a survey that'll be open through the remainder of January. We really want our families or community members that are around the walking areas for students that that have an awareness of the safety aspects of students coming and going, whether it's biking or walking. So we encourage our families to get on, fill out the survey. We want to collect as much data. Even if it's just you recognize a pinch point where it's unsafe, go on there. You can put a pin on where you think that the committee should be looking. And then the next part of that is the in-person portion. So our Safe Routes to School team is going to come visit us Estacada next month. We're going to be hosting a workshop here with our Traffic and Public Safety Committee, city staff. They're going to perform a walking audit. We'll really be able to see what pickup and drop-off looks like, and bring in the people that are the most knowledgeable about it to find ways to make our walking and biking safer for students. This aligns really well with the committee that Maggie was just mentioning. That way we can really overlap all of these thoughts and feedback and all the different brains at the table to make sure that we're seeing what we're working with to be proactive with the next school year. Oh, and Director Lohmeyer mentioned it last time. I did want to provide an update with the city. I discussed lighting in front of the middle school with them. They have put in a request with PGE. We don't have a set date. They've been probably a little busy with the bad weather, but they are planning on installing new lighting there, so that'll be great for our late night performances and these dark mornings. And the new stop signs at Broadway and 6th seem to be alleviating backup coming and going to Rivermill and those risky turns to get out of there. So I think it's going well and seemed to be well received on social media when it was announced also. So we're happy with that partnership and that they saw a need and stepped in.
Any questions?
You just answered mine about the stop sign, so thank you. I can cross it off.
Perfect.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Questions? Thank you. All right, next up, finance and accountability.
Yes, great.
Scott.
Thank you. Well, as you have both the enrollment report, we have a new format for the enrollment report, which allows it to be actually seen and understood, so thank you for that call to get that out to you. We'll have that in that format going forward. Our financial report is very stable and tracking as expected. One thing to note, our property tax collections are up 2.9% year to date, which is just below the typical average of 3% on an average year. What this tells me is that our growth is starting to slow a bit. If our property collections are coming in at a 3% growth rate, where in the past years we've seen 5, 6, 7% growth rates. So that's something to keep an eye on. We'll keep an eye on that moving forward throughout the year. We have a couple of issues in my written report that I need to bring your attention to. One is the audit is still expected to be completed by the extended deadline of January 31st. We did extensive work on that today. And then the other thing I would like you to consider is approving the intent to award the CMGC contract to CB Construction. That's a board action that you should take, and that is a reflection of the work that was done last month on the day of your board meeting. And so the committee had selected that group, and we're looking forward to working with them on the seismic grant. And then also I wanted to bring your attention to the student investment account, the SIA agreement. We've received that agreement. We intend to fully execute that agreement. That grant is monies that come to us through the corporate activity tax that was passed into law 5 years ago now. It seems amazing that it's been that long. But anyway, that results in about $3.9 million to us over a 2-year biennial period. But the state law and the parts of the grant say that you need to be aware of that grant, and so just by us communicating this, it meets that requirement. And then finally, budget planning is shifting. We're starting to begin our budget planning for next year already, and we're moving to, I'm very excited about this, have the opportunity to move to a program-based budgeting process, which is, to my knowledge, we're one of the few districts our size, certainly in the state, if not in the country, that are really taking a comprehensive approach, a look at all of our programs, how they're funded, what their expected outcomes are, and what the academic return on investment is. So we're excited. We've already started that process, meeting with our educational leaders in the buildings, and we will be wrapping that up around April and May as we begin the budget approval process, which you're well aware of with the budget committee and that kind of stuff. So anyway, that's all I have. Are there any questions?
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about your PPB. I'm a little nervous whenever we change budgeting procedures, especially in the middle of a year. When are we planning on implementing that? Sounds like it's right away.
Yes, we've actually started it already, and to start a program like this is essentially just an assessment first and foremost of identifying all the different programs that we offer as an institution, and really just taking a look at it and making sure that we have all the people in the right spots. And we're intending to analyze that, make a good assessment as how well that's performing. It isn't necessarily a huge shift in budget allocation or resource allocation. It's just a better way of identifying what we expect the funds of the district to accomplish.
Okay, so I'll come over and talk to you later about it.
Okay, we'd be happy to. Yeah, anytime. My door's always open.
I know, thank you.
It's got 2 questions. You know,
Sure.
we're about halfway through with this new format and how we're looking at it. So
On the
I know-
reporting
Yeah, the
format?
reporting side, and so I know at the beginning it was, we're gonna get better as we go. So what's just a couple, maybe 1 or 2 takeaways that you have over the last, few months of starting this process and rolling it out that you think might be important for us to know?
Well, I think that one of the things that this report does do is it helps me kind of measure what we call the budget performance. Was the budget that was created and passed last year that we're in right now, is it doing what we're expecting it to do? And for the most part, I would say yes. It isn't a perfect budget, no budget is. The one that I'm going to start building on through this process is not going to be perfect, I can guarantee you that. But one of the nice things about this is that it will highlight if we're going over budget or if we have some extra budget resource that isn't appropriately allocated, we should see this in here.
Okay.
And also what I do like about this report too is it keeps an eye on that bottom line figure as well, because the ending fund balance in a district our size, particularly as Maggie mentioned, the aging facilities, this is a really important number for us to maintain and keep an eye on as we move forward for the district.
Great. And then I would also just ask December, so we have salaries that are up quite a bit compared to year to date and for the rest of the year. So, and then also the miscellaneous. So any
The salary portion of that is typically coaching salaries. What ends up happening is that a lot of times, once a sport concludes, that's when we have a lot of supplemental base and the stipends for coaching and those types of things. We also have, obviously, in a district our size, we'll have some people that are from outside of the area that will receive a coaching stipend, you know, a non-traditional or a non-teacher, non-licensed staff member that's doing that. So that tends to bump up those, you know, and that happens pretty much on the quarter.
Great, those were my questions. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Great questions. I have a question regarding the new, I forget the
Program.
PBB.
Yeah,
framework.
program-based budgeting.
So I just want a little bit better understanding of
Sure.
it. So would this be like looking at the special education funds we get from the state versus what we actually put out and how those correlate, or how does that work in that situation?
Sure, that's a really good question. So special ed is funded in 3 different areas. We provide our own resources, so in that sense, it's funded by the state school fund. It's also funded by IDEA as well as some of SIA. So we have grants at the state level, grants at the federal level, and our own general fund. And all 3 of those pour into the special ed program. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that the people that are getting paid out of each of those areas are appropriately in the right spot, for one, because we can't interchange those individuals, and we have to report out to the state and the feds on a regular basis on where those people are. So what we're hoping to accomplish is to be able to see each of those buckets, determine how effective each of those buckets are, and then bring them together to understand the effectiveness and the goals of the entire special ed program. We have a number of things that we're required by the state to do in special ed, which very often, unfortunately, get missed because we don't have, for instance, a good idea of legal costs or other costs that we have to pick up. So what we want to do is eventually get a good assessment of where those are and then start stocking away some money for some of those extra things. It improves the performance of the budget relative to what's actually going to happen in the year.
And in addition to that, over the course of the SIA grant funding, we have exponentially increased the funding and hired exponentially more paraeducators, more school psychologists, in an attempt to execute our vision for including all students in the general education classroom at their neighborhood school. And so through this programs-based budgeting process, we also want to look at student outcomes. And that's where we're going to look at our, from a business perspective, people look from a return on investment is, how little did they invest into the product and overall profit. Obviously in education, it's a little bit different, and we're gonna measure, how much did we invest and what student outcomes came from that. And so utilizing this process will allow us to do a better job of being more mindful in terms of, is that investment doing what we intended it to do. And we plan to look at that academic return on investment throughout all programs in the budget line items, so that as we, tighten our belt, particularly next year, or even have opportunities to invest in new things, we'll have some data to say this particular investment is making the most student outcome impact versus a different investment.
And are we modeling this off of, making the switch or modeling this off of somebody else doing this well?
No, actually, yeah. Thank you for asking. For a couple of years now, we have been studying some new school best practices inside public education, and we've been following the framework of an author named Nathan Levinson, who was a business manager, became a superintendent, and really just took a completely different perspective in looking at how we're taking taxpayers' monies, investing it into things, and having any type of idea whatsoever to determine if it's actually doing what we want it to do. And so Estacada leads the charge in so many ways, and this is a new opportunity for us to take a better look at our budget, our expenditures, so that we can continue to be innovative, outside of the box, and be able to put the money where we know it's making the biggest impacts. We'll be the first.
Just for your information, I went online because I wasn't sure what this was, and it looks on the surface pretty good, but the thing that I'm really wondering is how deep do we go into this?
Yeah.
This program portion. I mean, I'm a summary guy,
Right.
so I don't want us to be budgeting for pencils and pens and like most controllers do.
Sure.
No offense to you.
Yeah.
No, none taken.
That was basically my question, is how deep are we gonna go into this? Are we gonna have just 3 or 4 levels, or are we gonna have 50 levels? Like, you could have a program, and then for each school.
Yeah.
Each building could have a program, and we could have a maintenance program for that, and we could
Yep.
have a communications program for it, and we could dive down even further than that. What's our goal here?
The structure of this, particularly for a district our size, it is not efficient to go down into the level of the pencils.
Into the weeds.
Into the weeds, exactly. So, the balance that we're trying to strike, particularly in this first go-around, this first iteration of that, is probably at, if we've been budgeting typically at the 10,000-foot level, we'd like to get down to about 7,500-foot level. So we just get a good idea of really how the district is structured from a financial standpoint, and then budget from there. Our state's chart of accounts, which is going through its own change and iteration, which provides a structural framework for the budget. When you read the budget report, if you look at your budget report versus a different district's budget report, it would be not this report, but the actual budget document, it's going to look fairly similarly. It's going to be broken out by functions and objects and those types of things, some of those terms you may be aware of. We're going to utilize that exact structure and just go down to probably the object level, which essentially is salaries. So we'll look at instructional salaries and benefits versus non-instructional salaries and benefits. I hope that answers that question, that we're not getting all the way down to how many pencils or
Yeah, and
chalkboards we're buying.
the other thing is, I really think we need to run both at the same time congruently for a while. Cause it's gonna be a different format, and a different format sometimes is not easy to relate to each other.
Sure.
And that's where we run into problems, I think, is if we just fish and cut bait and change, we could lose some things in there that we've been tracking.
Yep.
And it's just, I think it's easier to be able to look at 2, but I don't know if we've got the capability, the manpower to run 2 budgets, side by side.
Yeah.
And that's a question too.
Yeah.
We likely won't, but in a good, effective budget really utilizes what's been done in the past. It doesn't rely on it, but it does utilize that. So that data we will certainly keep first and foremost in our mind as we look at maybe shifting it. I think it's not really the amount, we don't have the ability to really grow that budget significantly, simply because we're handcuffed a bit by the amount of revenues that we receive. So I think what we're going to see is just a little bit of a distribution of the buckets. The buckets are going to look a little bit different. They're going to be in a little bit different places. But in terms of effectiveness and reporting out at, say, this level, I don't think you'll see a change.
Yeah. And to your point that it's not gonna be a perfect budget, you know, we don't expect a perfect budget. $2 over and 3 under, that's fine.
We could do that. We'll get close. Thank you.
It's more accurate than Gallup, but we'll try. All right, any other questions for Scott?
I have one, just because we were talking about special education. Superintendent Carpenter, you had mentioned there was a group of superintendents and maybe business managers that were talking about that at the state level, and that it's funded at, is it 15% or 11% of population?
11%, correct.
And we were hovering closer to 16 or 17%.
We're at 16, correct, yep,
And it was not an uncommon thing, but we were on maybe the higher end of it.
yes.
Have you made any headway with the state on that front?
No, it had real great momentum in the last session, but when the state finally cut all of the checks to education, transportation, state police, state parks, et cetera, that one got cut out of the final funding. And because Oregon's economic health right now is in jeopardy, anytime that either lobbyists representing public education, or I've had 3 different meetings in the last 3 months with different, our local legislators, it's sounds like it's dead on arrival at this time, which is unfortunate for us and our students, because at the end of the day, there's 5% of our student population that's not being funded correctly to support them.
Okay, thank you.
But to be clear, they're being supported
Oh, they
effectively,
are being
right?
supported.
I just want to make sure that
Yep,
that's
nope.
out there. We're doing
Thank
it
you
in
for
spite
saying
of a
that.
lack of funding.
Yeah, that's exactly
okay.
right.
All right, any other questions? Not, I have one. Is there anything not discussed or shown on the financial report that we should be aware of, Scott?
No.
Okay, thank you. All right, next up, Superintendent's report. Superintendent Carpenter, you're up.
Okay, can I get that clicker
Oh,
really
I'm
quickly?
sorry. There you go.
Thank you, Board, and great to be with you this evening. I also want to share my appreciation. It's important to just take a moment to just recognize that the reason why the Estacada School District is thriving in the way that it is, both financially, in the arts, in the athletics, and most importantly, academically, is because we have a very healthy school board leadership. And your commitment to this work and your commitment to this community and its local school district success is just paramount. And so I wanted to just thank you as well as that. And obviously we have some other things coming in your direction as we go through the year to make sure that we're representing the Rangers and Estacada schools to the best of our ability. But at the end of the day, from your superintendent, but just from a person who gets to work closely with other superintendents in other school districts, I just feel very blessed to have an amazing team. And I think that this community may underestimate just how great this school board is in terms of school district health, and they should also give thanks for your time and your commitments. Also, I want to just, in addition to Danny's report, I do want to thank publicly and on the record the city of Estacada. The school district was the lead advocate for placing that 4-way stop onto, Broadway and 6th Street. For many people who are born and raised and have lived decades and generations in here, that change might come as an inconvenience, but I also know those same people being inconvenienced were equally as frustrated trying to turn left or right out of there while ongoing traffic was coming through. The reason for the motivation of our lobbying to the Transportation Committee and city councilors was because, as we all know, our city is growing, and Rivermill Elementary School contains 530 kids at its school. And so at the beginning of that school day and at the end of that school day, it's become an unsafe intersection for our students to be able to walk, for our buses to be able to safely drive, and just the hectic chaos of people coming from the new neighborhoods into the downtown. And so for those on social media who are disgruntled about this change in city traffic, please give it some time and patience. I know that the routines will get there and everyone's going to be safer because of it. And I also truly believe statistically, you're going to get a quicker turn to get to where you need to get to in that process. So thank you for holding your horses as we try to make our school district just a little bit safer and our community just a little bit safer. But the praise goes to the city who made it happen. And I'm grateful for that. I do want to share with you here, you can kind of see on the slide a really neat opportunity where Estacada got to represent in urban Portland, which was really quite fun. OPB has spent the last 12 years making a documentary following from 2012 or something like that, the incoming kindergarten class at David Douglas High School, and they followed 7 kids from kindergarten all the way to graduation at David Douglas over 12 years, which included COVID, which included so many just amazing things. And I would recommend this OPB film. It's about an hour long, and it's really quite impressive. And the takeaway from me in watching this film was really just how unique each kid is as they encounter our public school system. And it's not just about schools, it's about life, it's about so many other things. And as we serve 1,900 students in the Estacada School District, each one of them has their own story, and that's what makes the work we do so complex. We're not making widgets, we're trying to prepare humans to be successful in life, and it was just a really powerful work. The cool part is thanks to Maggie Kelly and her developing relationship with news medias and outlets, is that through her great work and partnership, OPB asked the Estacada School District, 2 Portland Public leaders, a professor from the University of Washington, and from another local Portland nonprofit agency, but we were the only K-12 school district represented on a panel to talk about the future of education in front of about 200 people in the audience. And so it was a really great experience, and I love to be able to share times where Estacada was at a table that they've never been to before. And so it was really great, and I've received a lot of emails from Portlanders just about our story and the great work that we're doing. So I wanted to share that, and I thought it was really cool. Additionally, we welcomed visitors from Prineville, Crook County School District today. Our Director of Teaching and Learning, Jennifer Berman, and our Director of Student Services, Jill Bennett, led leaders from the Prineville School District to take a look at how we're executing inclusive practices, how we're using evidence-based leadership, and how we're using just great collaboration between teacher and students in every classroom. You've all been on this tour before. We do one of these tours once a month, and we've brought in leaders from around the United States of America, and just something I wanted to report out. And again, thanks to Jen and Maggie in all of this hard work, but we are sold out for the rest of the year for people from around the country to come and tour and see just what the hype is about Estacada schools and how they can implement that back in their home districts. The next slide I want to share with you is what I spent the majority of my day working on today in Hermiston with small school superintendents, athletic directors, leaders, as well as just some other Eastern Oregon bigger schools as well. As many of you know, the OSAA is in their reclassification process, and they have settled on, and we've talked about this in prior board meetings, and please forgive the small print there on the screen, but really for all sports, with the exception of football, the leagues are locked. And For us, the Tri-Valley remains the Tri-Valley, and we're including North Marion, and I think that's going to be a great league. But about 10 years ago, football specifically was built into its own special districts. And while I understand the why behind it, and that is if you're a 5A school and you haven't won a game in a couple of years, the OSAA drops you down a classification, hoping that kids experience success. The same for 4A down to 3A. Completely understand the intent. However, the issue is because of the constant yo-yoing, leagues have become inconsistent in terms of 1 year we have Woodburn in our league, for example. The next year there's a threat of Redmond coming into our thing, and so there's just no consistency in the way that that works. And so the general discussion today was really about how to protect the 4A level, particularly in Eastern Oregon regions where travel is so huge, and it's just a yo-yo effect of who's coming in and out of it. And again, Estacada was very lucky to be invited to an Eastern Oregon club party. And so it was just nice again to ask for our voice in that process. I want to share with you the recommendation coming from us to the OSAA, as well as where the OSAA is in that. And I wanted to share that with you because there is some significant change in the way that it's determined. And that is the Estacada School District, I know hard to read, is in Special District 2. Last year, our football conference had 5 teams in it, I believed. And so we were able to play a 3 or 4 game non-league schedule. For a lot of Eastern Oregon schools and other schools having some major financial troubles right now, travel is one of the bigger things that's an issue for most school districts. It's an issue for ours too, but our motto is we play anybody, anytime, anywhere. That's how we become great. And so we want to continue that tradition as well. But at the same time, this proposal has Estacada next year in an 8-team league. And so the proposal is to, instead of having 6 or 7 different 4A leagues of 4 or 5 teams, is actually to smush 2 leagues together as one. And so the pros of that is the 4A classification will be able to protect itself a little bit from the yo-yo effect. And so it's a little bit more challenging to squeeze a 5A team into one of these leagues because it's full. And there's not a lot of room in those areas. And you can see, like at the bottom, the Eastern Oregon League has 5, so it becomes an option for the 5A school. So, okay, Springfield in Eugene, if you want to come 4A, you're in the Eastern Oregon League, and tough. Instead of trying to squeeze it into different spots and move us around in different spots. The con is that's an 8-league season, which means there's only room for a couple of preseason games. And so the onus to be ready to go for league play sooner in the year is definitely going to be a challenge for our coaches and our students. And I didn't mean to belabor this as long as I have. I just kind of wanted to share the why in the work that's getting done in there. And also our football league, if approved, is going to be outrageously tough next year with Cascade, Philomath, Monmouth, which is Central, and others. Malala will not be tough next year, for the record. And so I just wanted to point that out. So that's that update. Any questions on that before I move on to the next one?
So if we had an 8-team league, they probably haven't thought about like a playoff situation yet.
3 teams go.
3 teams, okay.
Yep. And then
Makes
they
sense.
might take a 4th if the ranking is high enough to reach that bracket. Yep.
Okay.
So that is that. Did you have something, Director Wheeler?
How official is this, or does this go back to OSAA now, or?
It goes back to the OSAA, and they are doing 2 more committee looks at this. Although this is where they're at today, even the OSAA. Yep. Based on these recommendations.
All right.
And so that's that. Halfway done. Part of my obligation as your superintendent per policy IICA, which is field trips and special events. I have an obligation to notify the board when groups or programs or clubs of students leave the state for a field trip. And so I wanted to just make the board aware that coming up, I think in February, you can help me more with this, I think it's in February, our FFA group is going to be traveling to Chico, California to participate in a national agriculture competition, fair, and festival. And some of that $45,000 fundraised money, I believe, is going towards that. And so I wanted to make the board aware of that. And then I'm doing two birds with one stone because it's not until the springtime. And this is a tradition that Estacada has always done, but the band and choir will be traveling again to Disneyland, as they always do, in California to perform and present and do their thing down there as well. So I just wanted to check that box and make sure that we're in compliance with policy on that. I will skip budget because I thought we had a great conversation with budget on that. I also want to personally thank Director Berman and Director Martinez, who spent considerable hours with us really going through the CMGC process that you will have the opportunity to vote on today. We, again, board appreciation, are so fortunate to have board members who are experts in the construction field, in the contract field, and the questions that both Director Martinez and Director Berman asked in that setting it was just incredible, and it helped the school district make what's probably, at least in my time here, one of the best contractor decisions that we've made thanks to the process really driven by both Scott and both of our school board members. So I do hope Director Berman will have the chance when it's up for vote in that discussion spot to kind of give his experience and take on it. But I also think you can vote today with more confidence than you've ever voted before. However you vote, you can vote with more confidence than you have before because of the background work that went into this recommendation in that direction. A quick one, but just a note, and this is more for Director Lohmeyer as well and Vice Chair Johnston, but we received information that the dehumidifier in the wrestling room was broken, and so the district has purchased a new dehumidifier to be installed in there as well. As we know, staph infection, ringworm, just odor, and those kind of things are paramount to make sure that that's a safe place for our students to participate in. And so we're excited to be able to use some of our capital construction funds to be able to keep that place great. And then two more things, but this one will be quick. Just wanted to share that we are beginning the process of soliciting 4 bids to begin the remodel construction of the front office of Estacada High School. We're feeling really good about that at the moment, and we'll be talking more about that, so I'll be quick there. But just to let you know, that ball is starting to roll. And then last but not least, 'tis the season again for evaluation of the entire school district. But I wanted to just put onto your map that it's also the beginning time for you, and one of your 4 major functions is to hire and evaluate your superintendent. And so my intention is to begin the process like we traditionally have done, unless there's feedback to do things differently, starting next month in terms of self-evaluation and the opportunity to really articulate our growth and achievements over the last year. And I'll pause there for any open discussion on that.
Yeah, so just to reiterate what that process has been, and I think it's worked, so, but open to any feedback. But what that would look like is we would do an executive session before the February board meeting to give Superintendent Carpenter an opportunity to deliver his self-review. After that executive session, then Denise would send out the evaluation documents. We need to set a time, probably the week before the March board meeting, to get those back to you. That's probably enough time. So we would have essentially from the February board meeting, which is I think February 11th, to a week before the March board meeting to have our individual evaluations completed and sent back to Denise. She will then compile those results. We will call an executive session before the March meeting. And that'll be a 2-parter, or at least historically, so if somebody feels differently, please let me know. But historically, what we've done is the first half of that executive session is for the board just to review those compiled results. As a reminder, again, we don't make changes because they are individual evaluations by board members. But I know the board appreciates seeing what that looks like as a whole and how that amalgamation, it's probably not the right word to
No,
use,
but it's a good one.
it is a good one. Or compilation of those scores come together and what that looks like. And the second half of that executive session would be then delivering that performance evaluation to Superintendent Carpenter. We do need to do that before the March meeting, because in the March meeting, that's when we do our official vote to either extend his contract or not extend his contract.
Correct.
And so that did work last year, it's worked in previous years, so that would be my recommendation for this year. If everybody feels good about that, then I think that would be the plan. So any direct feedback from anybody? And
I think it's working just fine.
yeah, okay,
Agreed.
perfect. Does anybody want, while we're talking about it, does anybody want their historical ratings? I know you typically like to see
Every time.
yours. Attaboy. So what I would say is if you want your historical ratings, please email Denise. I think this will work as Director Berman's email, but if you don't speak now, you can email her. It is a fair amount of work, so I don't think she needs to compile everybody's if they don't want them. So, but just let Denise know during or after this meeting if you would like those. So
You've got my email too. Thank you.
That means he would also like them.
yes. All right. So everybody feel good? Director Johnston, you're good with that? Sorry, Vice Chair Johnston?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Okay. All right, so we'll get an email out, Denise, just with those dates, just to confirm and all of that stuff. That would be great. And then it'd also be nice to have just the printed copies of that official, our evaluation as he's going through his self-evaluation. I think we've done that in the past as well.
You want a hard
A
copy?
hard copy, yeah, just so we can familiarize ourselves with it.
Has
during that
anybody
time.
looked at the OSBA, copy? Cause a couple years ago, they revised it and changed some of the questions.
Yeah.
Hasn't changed?
Okay.
Okay.
Correct.
It's a good call, because it did change a few years ago and we didn't know it until we pulled it, so.
Right.
Okay, so I think that's that portion. Is
Yep,
that,
and that's your
that's
superintendent's report.
superintendent's report? Okay, so any other questions, comments for Superintendent Carpenter?
Nope.
Okay, I will just say we do feel the love from a board standpoint, so thank you. Yeah, we do, all the time. So outside of even just the official month of board appreciation, I think that
Thank
that
you.
is well communicated, and again, that relationship is not a one-way street, it's a 8-lane highway, right? And so it is important that is working well and is continues to go. And so I think I would say also from the board standpoint is, one of the things I appreciate about this group and have over the years is if something isn't working or we want to see something different, then we raise our hand and say, can we see something different?
Yep.
And I think that's really important.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the district's willingness, and I'll use Scott as an example as the new finance guy, right, of just saying, yeah, if you want something different, then let's
do it.
What can we do for you, right? So, so I appreciate the board asking those questions and asking deeper questions to better understand it so that we can turn around and full force support and be an advocate out in the community when we get stuck in the ice cream aisle. So not stuck, when we have conversations in the
Yeah,
ice cream aisle.
when we get to, engage our community.
Yes,
Yep.
exactly. So, all right. Anything else for Superintendent Carpenter? Okay. Thank you very much. Moving on to item F, reports and presentations, and we have Joanne Mackey here this evening, the principal of Clackamas River Elementary. So as she's walking up, it's customary when we have a new building principal that they come and say hi to the board. So no super secret agenda. It's just an opportunity for those of us who don't have kids in your building or may not have met you previously to put a face to the name. So welcome aboard, and we'll let you introduce yourself.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys inviting me. My name is Joanne Mackey, and ironically, I don't know how much you guys know about me, but ironically, I started my career in Estacada when Estacada Junior High was in that parking lot. Does anybody remember that?
No.
No,
When was
okay.
that?
So it was when the junior high at that time was getting remodeled
Okay. So
during the
2000.
first bond. And so they moved the junior high over here, and I started as a junior high PE teacher. And then the following year, we moved back into the junior high, and it was the junior high the entire time I was there. So from Estacada, I went and taught at a couple other districts. I actually taught the class of 2025 that was on that screen in David Douglas. And then I moved to Gresham Barlow where I was doing some TOSA work. And then I had the privilege, I always say, to come back home as a vice principal last year. And then I was able to move into the principal role this year.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I don't have any questions prepared, so anybody
Yeah.
questions or?
How was the school year going for you this year?
It's going really well. A couple weeks ago, I met some community members at a birthday party, and they asked that very same question. And it's just a privilege and an honor to serve this community, and our families are incredible. The support we have in our district is incredible, and I am always bragging about the district and just how many things that we are doing so well. And just to have that experience from other districts, and then to come here and just to love who you work with Ryan and Jen. Lindsay and I work super close together. One of the goals that we have is just to make sure that our families have the same experience, whether it's at River Mill or Clackamas River.
Yeah.
And we have really worked hard on aligning ourselves. So it's gone really well. Some of my favorite events are having families into our building, and tomorrow we get to have our kindergarten through second family breakfast. And it's just so fun to be able to see our kids and our families just enjoying our space together.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
How's prep for the reconfiguration going for you and your team?
Good. We're excited.
Okay.
We're really excited. So we're just in the beginning stages, but we're really just hopeful and excited. Actually, today I was looking at starting to clear out space and moving the curriculum so we can easily see what we have. So we're not ordering more stuff that we don't need, and yeah, it's going really well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What's the overall timeline on that,
For what?
the reconfigure? How are we aligning with our previously?
We're ahead of schedule actually right now. We have already notified employees of their work site location. We've collected a lot of voice and feedback. Our building principals and department directors have done a lot of work in the background to begin to plan for that, work through, obviously some of the conflicts inside of such a big change. And as Principal Mackey just said, now we're starting to take inventory, really look at how we can move kids and teachers into effective spots, determine, which paraeducators are in the right spot. We intended to be there in April, and we're already there now. And so we're ahead of schedule.
Awesome.
So how's it been transitioning from vice principal to principal?
A lot easier than I don't know if easy is the right word, but it's been seamless. I have a new vice principal, obviously, that's not familiar with Estacada. We are really fortunate to have her. She is a systems person, and our goal for the first year together was really to get to know and listen to our community, our families, our staff, and our students. But we have been able to put in several systems just to help things run smoother.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Glad you're here.
Thank you.
And I will say that Joanne Mackey has just been a major asset to our growth and what's going on. And in addition to trying to get students to achieve a high outcome, she's also working on culture and building great relationships. We could not be more proud of her first year as principal and her contributions in the last couple of years here. So
Thank you.
You're doing a great job.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you.
We
It's a
appreciate
privilege
it.
to meet you.
And
Thank you.
looking forward to the rest of the school year.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, on to item FG, discussion, which we have none. Item H, hearing of citizens for action items, which we have none. We're on to I, action items. The consent agenda includes a package of one or more items to be voted on as a unit. However, if any board member is not in favor of one or more agenda items and prefers to take separate action, a request to the chair anytime prior to the vote will remove that item for a separate vote. So we're looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Chair Rydell, I move to accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Will, was that a raise the finger for discussion or just a, okay, perfect. Just to make sure I'm not forgetting you out there, so. All right, all in favor, raise your right hand or say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
On to item J, the aforementioned CMGC contract with CB Construction.
Chair Rydell, I move to approve the intent to award GMGC contract to CB Construction out of La Grande, Oregon, and direct staff to begin drafting the CMGC contract.
Second.
Moved and seconded. I know Superintendent Carpenter alluded. Do you have information you'd like to share?
It was the best process I've been a part of here from a contracting standpoint. You know, I got to participate. I was not leading it, but it was fun to be invited to it. The RFP was written well. It was socialized well. I think we ended up with 8 submissions, and they were pretty thick submissions. We asked a lot. Everybody produced a lot. It also tells you about the state of construction and where you can, now's the time to do it if you have the cash. We had gone into it, had some meetings about let's pick a supplier. We couldn't land on one without interviewing them, so we picked the top 3. Not necessarily in a price order, but a value order and experience order. This was nice, we were able to weight multiple pieces of it, because low bid doesn't usually get you best product. In fact, most of the time it doesn't.
Yeah.
So, great process. We had the top 3 come in. They did a good job answering questions, obviously some better than others. We even had some nice test questions, you know, making sure they read specs and requirements and how do they protect us and them from double dips. Everybody was prepared, great answers. But at the end of it, it was unanimous. We didn't have to go back and forth at all. Pretty clear choice, so. Cool. I believe it was thorough, well thought out, and I can stand behind that decision that we made.
Awesome. Well, and I'll echo Superintendent Carpenter's appreciation for you and Director Martinez, who's not here tonight, but it does make a difference to have people that are in that world and live in that world. And no different than us as school board members, right? We're not educators, so we need to rely heavily on educators as we make those decisions, and it's invaluable to have board members that have that experience and can
It was
give
good.
that.
You know, we got to explore spaces like safety ratings and are you owned by venture capital, or when were you bought? What's your leadership style, revenue sizes, project sizes? And it all adds up to a decision,
You bet.
not just a price.
Great.
So I think it's a good recommendation for the board.
Awesome. Thank you, Director Berman. Any questions or comments?
One thing on the board backup, it's a nice summary. And maybe I don't know exactly what I'm asking for, but maybe just a little more meat. Of some of the stuff maybe that Joe alluded to, of just why we landed on these guys, and a little more substance. And I don't know how we do that, but it might be something to think about on the next one when there is a next one.
We can improve that. You bet. Thanks for the feedback.
I live in this realm, and so a little bit more is better for me to kind of wrap my head around it.
For sure.
I don't know if it's necessary for everybody else, but when I look at the board backup, it's like, okay, they're definitely the high points. I can see how we got here, but maybe a little more background.
Cool. Yeah, good
Great
feedback.
feedback.
And I definitely trust Joe and Rosa and everybody else involved, so I appreciate everybody's work on this.
Okay, any other comments, discussion? All right, all in favor, raise your right hand or say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
On to item K, hearing of citizens for non-action items.
None.
All right, with that, we will adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everybody who's here in person and still here in person. We appreciate you. Have a great night.